Yo, what is up, guys? Today's video is gonna be about how much do you charge for retail jobs. I'm basically gonna go over this presentation slide with y'all, and let's get at it. Here we go. All right, guys. So I get this question a lot. I think Rob Zilla Garage is the one that asked about pricing. So this is for you. Um, So I have two sides of the business. It's retail and then there's dealerships, or you could say commercial accounts. Being fire trucks or car rental places, or just your regular mom and pop dealerships, right? Retail is basically people that find me online. They go to the internet and they just submit an estimate request, and they send pictures. So when I get that information from the customer, this could be a doctor, lawyer, nurse, a teacher, whoever. They want service done at their house. So that's considered a retail job. So there's pros and cons of a retail job versus a dealership job when it comes to pricing. Retail job, you can charge more than a dealership. Reason being is the retail jobs, say it's, a teacher, they've probably already been in a collision before and got an estimate from a local body shop. Local body shops can charge anywhere from, 40, 50, $60 per hour to do a repair on a car. These are like, your standard rate. And to fix a bumper, you can have as much as 10, 15, 20 hours plus, depending on how bad the damage is, plus any parts. So it gets pretty expensive when they take it to a body shop. Being that the industry I'm in is mobile, we go to the customer. There's a couple factors that come into play, but I'm gonna get more into that later on in this video. So the pros for retail, um, you can charge more. Dealerships, they might have more volume, so you charge less, but you're doing more cars every week. Uh, Retail, one of the pros is you can be flexible when it comes to scheduling. You work that out with your client. Dealerships, once you get into an agreement with dealerships as far as pricing, if your standard rate is 150 or 200 per bumper, like that's it. Like if you're gonna charge more, if it's worse, like you're locked in for life. Some dealerships will allow you to raise the price, but you have to get approval first. So it really depends on the relationship you have with the dealership management. Retail, this actually came, it was a big help during COVID. If you have a retail clientele list that you've built over the years, on average, if you maintain a client and they're happy, so you want to know what price is fair for a retail job. Well, you got to look at from a customer standpoint of view, right? They have a 9 to 5 job or they have their own business, they're busy. And nowadays, with the way things are, they want convenience. So chances are they probably already went to a body shop, um, and they have an estimate. So now they're trying to find the alternative, which is probably a new concept for them when they came across your service, being that it's mobile. Um, you kind of want to have an idea of what a body shop would charge. So body shops have like a standard rate. They might charge 50, $55 per body shop hour. On top of that, paint supplies per hour could probably be like 30, $35 an hour. So if an estimator looks at a bumper and says, oh, it's going to take 10 hours to fix that bumper back to factory standards, and their body shop rate is $50, then that's $500 right there. If they need a new bumper, now they got to uh, add in the cost of the bumper, which OEM might be $600, or if it's aftermarket, it could be 100, 200, $300. It just depends, right? On average, from my experience, body shops can charge anywhere from 600 to like 1,500 plus. just to fix a bumper. And they're going to tell the customer, oh, yeah, we got to take it off the car, paint it, put it back on. That's why we have 10 hours of labor, and they'll break it down. So when they're calling you, they're kind of thinking, well, let me save some money and not pay this much out. Maybe they have a high deductible or they don't. Um, Another point to look at is what are your competitors charge for similar repair? I know a lot of people in the industry, so I kind of know what their prices are. I ask them, they tell me. We kind of go back and forth based on pictures and all that. But if you have that, you can ask around and say, hey, what would you charge for this right here? Or if you have a friend that works in the mobile paint and body, you could text them real quick and be like, hey, what would you charge for this? There's even some painters and body men that work at legit local body shops, but they work on the side, like, on the weekends at their house. You can ask them, hey, what would you charge to do a side job like this? To kind of get an idea. Um, then you have the customer. What do they think it's worth? Now, I'll give you a very important tip. If they have a deductible, chances are that if it's something minor that needs to get fixed on her car and it's a little less than their deductible, they might end up getting the repair and pay out of pocket to a mobile service technician or a mobile painter, such as yourself, because they're not going to put it on their claim. They're going to save money. So it makes more sense to them to fix it out of pocket than to take it to a body shop and the added convenience of you going to them. So think about that when you're pricing. And I have a scenario that we're going to go through here in a little bit. I'll show y'all about that. So when you talk to the customer, initially, what I do when I go to figure out my pricing is I want to find out what they need the most. They talk to you and they'll tell you, hey, I need to get this done before Friday. I'm going out of town. If it's a car rental, they'll tell you I got to return this car on Monday, and they need to get it done Saturday. Um, or they might say, hey, if they start using words like, hey, I just want to get the cheapest price that you can give me for this bumper repair, that's an indicator to you that they're, conscious about their budget. So you kind of have to tweak your numbers as you go along, as you hear what they have to say, and you look at the pictures of the damage. Sometimes you'll get calls where it's just like, hey, I heard you're the best in town, or, my friend recommended you, become highly recommended. I saw your reviews, I saw your videos. I want you to do the repair. You will get those. And you could charge a little bit more, because you could say, hey, if you're really booked, then it only makes sense that you get compensated for your time if you're going to be working overtime or working on the weekends, and their understanding of that. So you have that leverage of what their expectations are, what they're needing from you, and then also, it's convenient for them. So a lot of people nowadays are going more towards the convenience of it. So now the customer's pricing logic. Let's just assume they already had another bid, right? It could be a local body shop, but more than likely, they're reaching out to you because they want to know the alternatives. Is it more or less? And some of those customers might be willing to pay more depending on if their conditions are met. What I mean by conditions is they want it done tomorrow and they'll pay double. That's one example. I had one customer one time. Yeah, he had a fender and he was like, hey, I'm going out of town Friday and I want to get my truck fixed. It was a brand new truck, like literally just had less than, I don't know, 1,000 miles. And he basically said, hey, I'll give you $1,000 if you come out today. And well, it was already like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right? You only got 4 hours of sunlight. So I said, look, we're still gonna charge you the 625, which is our normal fee for something like what he had. Um, and I told him, we're not gonna take advantage of you like that. Like it's how I do business, and I'm gonna take care of you. But he was one of those people that, hey, the more you pay, the more better service you're supposed to get, I guess. Um, The other thing too is sometimes your customers might be just window shopping. So if they're using certain indicators in their language where they're ready to buy, they're ready to schedule. These are very hot leads. You want to pay attention to what they're telling you. If somebody's window shopping and you might get 5 calls or 10 or 15, 20 calls a day. You could spend more time per customer on the phone, or you can give them like a range. For these are for window shoppers. You could say, hey, it could be anywhere from you know 275 up to 325, depending on such and such. The color, where you live in town, and you just give them a range, right? Once they send you the pictures, once they let you know what part of town they live in, you can kind of decide and see where they're kind of leaning towards as far as like budget wise. Now, when it comes to dealerships, they might ask for lower pricing, and that's just because they're always going to say, "Hey, you do this for like 75 bucks," which I've had dealerships do that before. I'll get you all the work in the world, right? I'm going to get you like 20 cars a week, which is almost like never, the case. You might get 20 cars a week eventually, one week, but not like every week. So, what I usually tell dealerships, when I do a sales call and it's a brand new account, um, they'll say that, right? And I just say, hey, look, the way I have it set up is when a dealership does $5,000 or more in volume, then I can lower my prices to 175 or 200 bucks per bumper. But since we're starting off, I have to start you off at 225 or 250 per bumper. Some of them might not like it, but you're being honest, and a lot of dealerships can respect that, like the upfront honesty and transparency. So when you talk to the customers, just kind of hear them out and let them know what you can bring to the table. And they're going to kind of gauge the value that you're offering, convenience, get it done in one day versus what the price is, what the cost is going to be. So you want to position yourself uh, when it comes to offering the value, right? So once you understand exactly what they need, right? What do they care the most about? Is it getting it done like tomorrow, like this one guy that I told you about? Um, you kind of just walk them along and educate them on their buying decision. So, for example, if they want it done tomorrow, you can charge 625, right? Or if it's a guy that has a used truck and he still wants to get it done tomorrow, but he's like, I don't care what it looks like. I just don't want to spend a lot of money, and I want it to just be good enough so I can sell the truck. Those are different variables that kind of gauge how much you're going to charge. Okay, so um, now if you have clients that they have a brand new um, you know BMW or Mercedes, you're going to think about how to convince them that it's going to be a good choice if they go with your service, right? You want to sell yourself. So what I usually tell them is, look, we're mobile. We go to you. We do the same day repairs on site. You'll be able to drive your car, 2 hours after we finish with the repair. And usually they stay home or they leave the car at home and while they're at work, and you fix their car. They probably had a collision before, so it's not like they're going to take their car to a body shop and leave it there for a week or two because they probably done that in the past and it's just a lot of work. Also, they don't need to get a rental, and they can choose to pay out of pocket versus filing a claim. Once a claim is opened on their insurance, like it's going to stay on there. It's going to be in their history. So when it comes time to renew their policy, it's only going to increase their policy because now they have a history. And then also the other thing I kind of throw in there, if I kind of hear them thinking about the offer, like say I offered him to fix her bumper for 425. They're like, oh, okay, so what all is included? that's an indicator that they're interested in learning more, how much more value you can bring for 425. If I were to say 625 and there's like dead silence, where you hear, wow, or if they say, is that the best you can do? They're kind of on the fence. They're borderline on the fence. So you can say, look, the best we can do is 625, but I'm willing to do this for you. Put in a good word for us. We'll take care of you. I can do it for 475 or 525 or whatever, right? Don't go too low because then they're going to think, oh, well, he was trying to take advantage of me. You could go down by like maybe $50 or $100. Usually I go down by $50 and then they'll try to negotiate a little bit more and then I'll drop it down another $50. And that's if it's like a high ticket sell, like say, it's a $600 job or an $800 job. You'll get those kinds of jobs. And then also when you're talking to them, you want to remind them of the problem they have, right? And then you tell them exactly all your selling points. We go to you and get it done in a day. And we can do all this for you for 625. And then you let them speak. You hear them out, see what they say. The reason you remind them of the problem is because it kind of pulls on their emotions and they want to solve it, right? But then you offer them a solution to their problem and then you tie that number to it and they kind of feel like, well, I'm getting what I'm paying for, which is the solution. So here's an example, guys. Here's an easy repair for repair on a 2020 BMW X3 Series. Body shop estimate, I'm just gonna guess. Let's just say hypothetically it's $1,637. Now, what that includes is the tear down, the R&I, which is the taking the bumper off and putting it back on. That's what that means. Removing the sensors and the lights and then all that other stuff. That's why it comes out to so much. And that's what the body shop charges. But they have so much overhead. Your competitor being another local company that does what you do, they might charge 850 bucks. Now, your price, you're trying to determine, well, man, how much should I charge for this? If a person has a 2020 BMW X Series, they know it's an expensive repair. It's going to be an expensive car. So they're not going to, feel comfortable with somebody charging them $100 to fix this like new. They're going to be like, oh, what kind of materials are you using? Like, they're going to look at you like, do you even know what you're doing? But if you're charging, like, say, half of what you think that body shop estimate is, you know, um, 800 bucks, 900 bucks, even, I would probably even charge like 900 bucks for this job here because I try to aim a little bit higher than what I feel they're going to kind of go for. So it gives you room to negotiate down. So you start at 900, they might want to negotiate down to 800 or 700. But then the other thing to think about is what do you think their average deductible is? If it's $500, then you work your way up from $500. And this is for like a new car, guys. We're going to talk about an older model, but for this customer here, they got a brand new car. They want high quality. They want it done ASAP. So I just explained the repair process. They might ask me and say, "Hey, how would you fix this?" And then I'll just basically tell them, "Hey, we'll heat up the bumper and pull the dent out. Make sure we can get it as flush as possible without, adding, too much filler. The least amount of filler you have, the better repair it is. And then we're gonna sand it down, smooth it out, shoot primer, and then shoot base and clear, so it'll look like factory." So when you explain the repair process to them, it's like you're educating them. They're getting a little bit more knowledge, and you're that person that just strips away the veil and tells them like it is. Some other body shops they might like put um, fear into them and say, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to take the bumper off, and we don't know if it's damaged underneath or how bad it is." Um, if it's not that bad, it's cosmetic. Just be straightforward with them. They're just human beings, just like you and me, and they want real people to like talk to them and educate them. Not treat them like they're somebody that they can make some money off of. You're trying to help them make the best buying decision for them. So Here's the other scenario: is a 2006 Chevy Malibu. A body shop might charge them 695. Somebody, one of your competitors, they might say 550. Um, and if you don't have any work, if you're kind of like struggling, or you could take in some more work for the week, you could drop it down, $100 less than what you think your competitor is gonna offer. So that way you can get the job. And this is a customer that's like, oh, I'm not in a hurry to fix it, right? They don't want to claim it on their insurance. They just want to sell the car, and they're curious what it's going to cost to fix. So those customers, I just sometimes I give them a ballpark, and the ballpark that I give them, I kind of aim high. Say like, if their budget in their mind is 400 bucks, I'll start maybe at like 550. Okay. And the more I educate them about them, and they say the minute they ask me, is that the best you can do? I bring it down 100 bucks. So I'll end up at 450. Now, this is just for like retail jobs, guys. I'm gonna make another video to talk about dealerships, and I'm gonna, do a whole different slide on dealerships. But if this helps you guys out, I want y'all to just, post some comments, and let me know what else y'all would like to know as far as pricing. So it's always good to have some pointers like this, when you're doing the pricing. And this is pretty much what how I price my jobs every day. And if y'all have anything else that y'all want me to talk about, just hit me up in the comments below. All right, peace out.